Now, calls for stimulus are growing as Indian exporters claim they cannot survive the hit from President Trump's 50% tariff without government assistance. Industry groups are pushing for stimulus that includes cheaper loans, wage subsidies and tax breaks to soften the blow. A 25% tariff was already imposed on Indian exports to the US as part of Trump's reciprocal tariffs to punish India for its purchase of Russian crude. The US imposed additional 25% secondary tariffs on Indian goods, which kicked in on Wednesday. Trump's move to penalize India will increase economic risk for the South Asian nation. Industry groups warn production will stall, workers in labor-intensive factories could be laid off. They also said India risks ceding its hard-won market share to regional rivals. S.A. Ralhan, president of the Federation of Indian Export Organizations, said, I'm quoting here, those with 100% exports to the US markets have laid off labor in a big way. The government needs to come to our rescue immediately. The US is India's biggest export destination. According to New Delhi think tank Global Trade Research Initiative, the 50% tariff could cut Indian exports to the US by nearly $37 billion, which is about a 40% cut to the $87.4 billion worth of exports to the US last year. Now, as of last year, India's share of total US goods imports was 44.5%. The top items US imports from India includes gems and jewelry, textiles, capital goods, chemicals, autos and food and beverages. The bulk of those goods from a large percentage of total Indian exports to the US, with gems and jewelry and textiles taking the top spots. The goods exempted from tariffs include pharmaceuticals, preparations and smartphones. These make up for over 30% of Indian exports to the US. Ironically, oil and gas exports are exempted from Trump's tariffs, with the US trade delegation cancelling this week's visit to India. There are no immediate solutions or a trade deal in sight, however. Former Indian diplomat Jitendra Nath Mishra said that India must take US tariffs on the chin and ride out the storm, and said that despite the high tariffs, US-India trade deal is still possible.
The United States is concerned, let's not forget history. The 1974 sanctions were crippling for India after the first set of nuclear tests. And the 1998 sanctions were not crippling because India was economically much more resilient, but they were in any case very damaging. So right now, India is even more resilient. India is going to become the fourth largest and soon the third largest economy. Let's not lose our self-confidence. Let's remain calm. Let's not go by disinformation. The US is still our most important partner, and we'll have to take it on our chin and ride out the storm in some way or the other.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.